Guys, what's up? Quick little clip in I'm going to do at the beginning of this video of this LX570 showcase. In the video, there were two things that I overlooked. One being a small chip on the bottom of the right front door edge that I'll show you here in just a minute. And two being the passenger side front heated seat and ventilated seat switch did not turn on. I did figure out the switch itself was bad, and I have ordered another one. It will be here sometime in the next 2 or 3 or 4 days, and I will put that in when it gets here. So just want to let everybody know, when you do watch the video and you see those two items, the door's already been fixed and the heated seat switch is on its way and will be rectified when somebody purchases this vehicle. So let me show you real quick. The spot was right here. And as you can see, it has been fixed. If you watch the video, I'm not going to tell you where in the video, so you watch the whole thing, you will see that. I'm going to clip this in and let's get on with the video. YouTube, what's up? It's Chris, and today has been a long time coming for me, and specifically for this 2011 200 Series LX570. I know a few of you have seen this in previous videos of other vehicles that I've been showcasing, and it's finally ready. And I'll go over why it took such a long time to get this thing online. I probably should have done this sooner, but needless to say, I like for the cars to be 100% ready before I do these videos, obviously. So yeah, so again, this is a 2011 200 Series LX570. This is a one-owner car. It's been in Texas since new. Phenomenal service history. I just had it serviced as well, and it's a really nice, clean car inside and out. As always, we'll kind of go over everything. I'll talk about the ins, the outs, what was done, etc. to the car. One thing I want to start with on these videos moving forward is the keys and literature that come with the cars. Unfortunately, I only have one key fob for this car. Sometimes I get them with multiples, sometimes I don't. It's kind of really just the luck of the draw. How you have a one-owner car that only has one key, I don't know. But that's the case here with this car. So again, this car just has over 137,000 miles. It's like 137,035 or something like that. So pretty good miles on a 13-and-a-half-year-old, going on a 13-and-a-half-year-old 200 series. And it's going to be priced in the mid to upper 20s. So a lot of value here on this car, and it's the last year of the .1 200 series LXs. So for me, I prefer that. The 10s, or the 08 through 10s, okay, cool. But the 11s, you don't see as many quirky little things going on with them. So I like that part of it. So let me spin this around. Let me show you first what took this thing so long to get ready. And for those of you who watch my videos and are familiar with these LXs, I talk often about the wood and how there's no cracking, there's no lifting or anything like that on the wood. Same thing on the dash here. This car, when it came in, this was the wood. Whoa. This was the wood, as you see, that was in the car. And you can see how it's cracked. I was not going to do a video of this car. Even if it was just wood grain, I was not going to do a video of this car with that wood in the car. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But you hear me talk a lot about how these are made and how a lot of people have a idea that this is one solid, this dash piece is one solid piece of wood, and it's not. It's actually plastic. As you see, there's all our factory part numbers. It is plastic, very brittle, and what they do is they take this thin piece of wood and they glue it on the plastic. So naturally, cars that are in hot climates, as time goes on, these things will start to lift, crack, separate, and just come apart. And it's not, it doesn't look good. A lot of people will tell you, oh, you can glue this down and fix it. I mean, watch my thumb. I am pressing hard, and it is very buoyant. It comes right back to the shape that you don't want, where this piece of wood is cracked. So sure, I could have bought a new piece from Lexus for $800, my cost. These trim pieces are not cheap, and you know, $800 for this, that is crazy. I'm not paying that. I'm sorry. So there's a place in Texas called Craft Customs that will work on wood grain. They do steering wheel leather, wood grain, and what they do is they repair whatever you have going on, and then they replicate the burl in this wood. I mean, look how nice this thing looks. It looks better than it does stock from the factory, in my opinion. Hopefully this video will do its justice, but I always have a core. So what I'll do moving forward is I'm going to send this back to them, let them go ahead and fix it. The problem that took so long to get this advertised is they have about a 6-week lead time. That's how backed up they are on their repairs. And not just for Lexus, all makes and manufacturers. So again, Crafts Customs in Texas, right outside Dallas, I want to say. If you have any interior trim, wood, steering wheel leathers, a lot of the older 100 series, specifically Land Cruisers, the leather will start to come apart just from oil and different things, people touching it. They do a fantastic job. I had a early 100 series a few years ago that I had to get the steering wheel redone on. It was expensive, but boy, it came out really nice. So anyway, so this car has literally been sitting in that parking spot for weeks, waiting for that piece of wood to come back to me, and it finally came in yesterday. So here we are. So without further ado, let me get inside this thing, plug the scanner up to it. We'll check our monitors to make sure that this thing will pass emissions, and we'll get going with our video. Let's see if I can plug this in the right way the first time, and it's not looking like it wants to cooperate with me. There we go. So this is not going to be a cold start. I just had to run and put gas in it. There you go. 137,095 is the miles. I think I said 065, so I was a little wrong there. Let me get the scanner. All right. So there we are. So we have no powertrain DTCs or freeze frame data. Say that 10 times fast. Freeze frame data is presently stored in the vehicle's computer. So I know, again, most of you who watch these videos, you understand what's going on here. All the green dots are monitors for the emission system. So if there was a problem, check engine related, and the problem was not fixed, you would see that those monitors would be red, and it would not be ready to test. That is not the case here. This car is ready to test, will pass emissions, and has nothing going on that any of you need to worry about. So without further ado, let me get this thing outside and let's start walking around it. All right, so here we are outside. One thing I want to start with so I don't forget, and I will talk a little bit about this. There are 2 spots on the windshield. There is one right here. I can't really get my phone up there because I have it on a mount, but you can see it's like right there, very small. There's also another one right here. My glass guy is coming to replace a windshield on another car for me on Monday, so I'm gonna have him take a look at those and see if he can repair them. If he can, they will be resin injected where they will not spread or anything like that. If he cannot, that is how the car will be sold. So didn't want to forget that. So here we are. So we will start under the hood as usual. And I had one viewer suggest that I remove all the plastic from these LXs, which I will do moving forward. However, this car I did not have detailed under that area, so I will that will be the next car moving forward. Again, it looks very much obviously like a Land Cruiser, but I'll try to get, you can see that it is dirty, not detailed. And just to be quite honest, I don't want to take the panels off and it not look detailed under there. That will bother me. So I'd rather just be honest and say, hey, it's not detailed under there. And we will start doing that moving forward on the LXs on the next one. So not much to see under here. Everything's nice and normal sounding as it should be. Bottom of our hood pad looks great. Factory stickers up here. This car does have factory remote start, which we'll go over at the end of the video. So I did have the front bumper painted, as I do on most of my cars. Normal rock chips and environmental damage. Looks great now. Looks new, I should say. So really not much to see here, but new paint. Headlights are overall in good shape. We don't have any stress cracking, heat cracking, anything like that. Everything looks really nice up here. There's no fading going on. This is a really nice car condition-wise. I think it's fair to say a female, in my opinion, drove this car. Just looking at it, the overall condition. Probably an older female. Headlight number 2, you are seeing a little bit of delamination right here on these edges. But just in these 2 spots, the rest of the headlight looks great. And from what I can see and feel, this is in between the lens itself, so the top part of the lens and whatever is used in between, like the structural part of the headlight. So this is not on the outside, so this is not going to continue to peel. So just want to make that clear. Few little extremely minor spots up here on the front that have been touched up. Not a lot though. There's one right here. This is going to be hard to see because it's a cloudy day here and we got a white car. But maybe this is a better shot of the front of the hood. You can see, I mean, there's just not really much to talk about up here. It's in great shape. Again, this condition-wise, this is a really nice, clean car. This was a well cared for car, and that will be evident once we make our way inside. So, wiper cap bolts, I was told, are back ordered. Those are on order, or the covers themselves. They come off pretty easily. It's not uncommon to get these in without them. I have them ordered, but again, they are back ordered with no ETA, so it might be sold like that, maybe not. Hopefully I'll have them in before somebody pulls the trigger. Left front wheel, overall in really nice shape. You do see some slight, in 2011, they did the, what I call hyper silver wheels. The 08 through 10s were just a silver. And as I've spoke about on some of my previous videos on the 2013 to 15 LXs, the .2s, you'll see when people spray degreaser or other things on it, if they don't get it off quickly, or they spray the wrong thing on the wheel, they will streak or spot. You're seeing very minor indications of that. You can see right there. Very, very minor though. No curbing, no rash. That's really what I would care about. Don't really care about the spotting. More concerned about the structural part of the wheel, and all that looks great. It does have a set of Goodyear Eagle GT2s on it. These are common to see on these LXs specifically, just due to the size. They're in great shape. They ride good. They don't ride like a Michelin, obviously, but they do ride well. For those of you who do follow the channel, I had a 2010 200 Series LX not too long ago, a silver one with under 100,000 miles. that car also had these Goodyears on it. So this wheel back here, same like the front, no curbing, no rash, nothing like that. We do have our base coat, ground coat, whatever you want to say, starting to show through a little bit from some things that were sprayed on it, but you know, again, nothing crazy. Great tread life left. I am really gonna have to look to point things out on this car. So bear with me here. I've already gone over it twice. I don't want to make sure I miss anything. We do have a spot right here in the middle of the driver's door, about the size of my fingernail. Standing back, that's a good shot of it. Step bar, everything looks really nice here. Do have a spot right here, little tiny little spot. Rail up here looks really nice. Mirrors in fantastic shape. Front of the roof looks great. The rest of the roof looks great. Crossbars intact. So you can see up here, these rack covers right here, for those of you who don't know, are cheap plastic and extremely brittle. You can see somebody tried to, what they'll do is the actual feet down here, they'll start to deteriorate in hot climates. And that's what's happening here. Somebody took some epoxy or something at some point and kind of filled the gap in. It looks fine. This is just an external piece, so more than anything, it's just going to be for looks. Same thing back here. But it's all intact and looks fine, in my opinion. So what a nice clean car this is. Again, the rear bumper has been painted. I did not do it. I bought it like that. It looks great. The fit and finish of it looks awesome. I don't have any complaints with it. You can see the bumper was never off the car. Everything looks really nice. Fitment wise, it's lined up perfect. Pad right here shows just a little bit of, you got a few little rock chips right there, or whatever you want to call those. Our hitch cover does have two little small minor cracks right there. Not anything to worry about. It's attached to the bumper, so it's not going to go anywhere as long as you don't take the clip off and do anything with it. Everything looks really good here. Lower part of our gate looks great. We don't have any dents along the bottom down here, which people will back into stuff all the time, and it tends to damage that part of the lower part of the gate. Everything looks good back here, and same thing with our spoiler. This is where this car really, not that the outside's not nice, but this car really shines inside. You know, typical wear areas on all this plastic, as most of you know. This car literally does not show any wear. This car was very lightly used inside, and it's pretty obvious just looking at all of this. Carpet's in great shape all throughout this car. Storage. We got our tools over here. Tools are all intact. Everything looks really nice down here. All of our factory seams look great. None of our bolts have been turned up here. Looks exactly how you want it to look. I know I talk most of my cars up, but all of my cars that I do buy and sell, for the most part, are pretty uniform condition-wise, but this car, interior-wise, is kind of a notch above the rest. I mean, look at the bottom of these seats. Just in phenomenal shape. Let's check on our old original first aid kit, and we do have our jack in there, so everything is intact. Factory Lexus mat that looks almost new. Carpet underneath is in great shape. Do have some discoloring going on there, and I can't figure out what that's from, but that's the worst spot of the car on the inside, is that one little spot. Headliner in the back. All looks really nice. Let's get this mat back in there. One of these days I'm going to have an assistant that can help me with all this, and the video won't be as shaky and terrible and all of that. Hopefully sooner rather than later, actually. Alright, now. Come on now. Stop fighting me. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's move these seats. Back of the seats are just in great shape, just like the rest of the back of this car. Let's check on our third row headrest, or middle row I should say. There it is. So that goes right here. Stores away nicely in the back of that seat. The classic Land Cruiser gate. Everything looks really nice in our jam right here. And let's give this baby a close. All right, let me show off the third row seat real quick. We do have our classic seatbelt indentions. But just like most of the third row seats in these 200s and 100s, don't look like they've ever been sat in. And I can go ahead and say, from the looks of this car overall, they've probably never been sat in. So middle row headrest, or headliner, excuse me. We'll get back in here in just a second. Let's finish the outside. It's not always the case, but these one-owner cars, most oftentimes, and that's why I try to focus on them as much as possible. And again, this isn't all the time, but they're just kind of a step above Especially something like this. Most people know what they're buying and they bought it for a specific reason, and they tend to take care of it. So here's our right rear wheel. Kind of like the others, just some very minor spotting going on in the ground coat from whatever was sprayed. Do have one little nick right there, and you do have a couple little nicks right there. Outside of that, they look in great shape. Step bar, everything down here looks really nice. Right front wheel, I'd say this is the worst wheel of the four. And you can see we got a little spot right here, minor curving up here, and you do have some light streaking going on the spokes. That is not because it's dirty, that's just what happens when these wheels are sprayed with the wrong stuff. All right, so let me try to find something wrong with the side of this car for you guys. All right, so we got a little spot up here. A spot that got missed that I'm looking at right now, which I will take care of myself. Got a few little spots right here. Obviously that was missed. Those will be fixed, so you will not see those. Mirrors in great shape. Our upper rail up here looks really nice. Same thing with our roof rack cap feet. But I'll tell you, outside of that, it's in great shape. All right, let's pop our heads underneath it. See what this undercarriage is looking like. Oh, it's looking like it's not rusty at all is what it's looking like. CV axle looks fantastic. Steering rack's in great shape. We don't have any leak in there. I point those out because those are common areas that you'll see will tend to leak. They will also crack. The boots will crack and start to separate and come apart. So I like to document that. And same thing over here. CV axle looks great. And if I can get my arm under here, yep, everything looks really nice. We don't have any rust to talk about, which I know all of you know that's how I roll to begin with. I'm not going to say I'm never going to have a car that doesn't have some light corrosion on it, because even in southern areas you will experience that from time to time, but looking good. We got a Michelin, from what I can tell, on the spare. Looks like it has been down at some point. It's really nice under here. Fantastic. Looks awesome. All right, let's move inside. This again is where this car shines. Look how nice all of this looks. All of our common wear areas, I mean, literally look perfect. This right here, this is on the .1s. This is obviously interior trim color coded. It's not wood grain. On the .2s, it goes to wood grain. This is plastic, just like our wood as I was showing earlier. This piece chips up and scratches up very easily on these .1s. And look how nice everything looks on this. I haven't done anything to this. Wood looks fantastic, no cracking, no lifting, no nothing. Top of the door panel's in great shape. Does have some light tint on the front windows. I'd guess around 25, maybe 30%. It's pretty close to what the factory tint is on the back. Everything looks really nice up here. This is all original leather. None of this has been replaced. Look how plush everything still looks on this bottom part. It's not all blown out from people sitting in it. Really nice car. Look at our seat belts. I mean, seat belts are one thing that good luck getting them clean if they get dirty. Look how nice the side of our console looks. We don't have any scratching going on from the seat belt. There's our refinished wood that is in great shape, obviously. I'm not going to pull all this out. We do have a full set of owner's manuals, and we do have a wheel lock right there. So, in a funny story, these tan carpet mats are discontinued. I've had these mats for probably 2 or 3 years, I'd say. And I finally get to use them on this car, so I'm kind of excited to get them out. Well, come on, Chris. So there's the carpet underneath. Maybe a little discoloration going on right there and kind of right there on the edge. But very minor, nothing major. So the seat does slide forward, and it does go back. And it does recline, and it does come back up. All right, moving on. These edges of these door panels is where you're going to see a lot of damage, chips, scratches, things like that. So that's why I always show that. Typically this sticker is either faded or partially peeling off or completely gone on 200s in general. Fully intact, not faded, not peeling, awesome. Nice little piece of originality. Our door pull looks great. Again, this is all plastic, scratches up very easily. Everything looks so good on the inside of this car. No problems with our wood grain up here. So here we go, moving the rear seat forward, and it does come back. Let me adjust this seat a little bit. Look at our seat belts again. And they look new. Back of our passenger seat. These are other wear spots that will get kicked and whatever. Do have your factory headset for the DVD sleeping right there. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Nope. So here's our armrest for the middle row and the rear. We do have a couple batteries, some headset instructions, and a $400 remote. If you don't have that, it's a $400 replacement. So you don't have anything to worry about there. Cup holder does work and is fully intact. Look how nice the wood is. I know some of you have watched my videos previously. You'll see how scratched up and kind of marred up that can get. There's not one spot on that wood. Coming down to our rear console, all our buttons are intact. Door does stay closed. Our vent registers are not broken. They do move side to side, and they do go up and down. As you can see, I've got the air already on. We'll toggle through modes. All is well. Look how nice the center console is. Rear DVD. You see the CD DVD icon. There's nothing in there, and that's why it's blank. Even like the sides of these seats, look how nice. I know you're like, what are you talking about, the side of the seat? But cars that are heavily used or heavily worn, you see stuff everywhere. Carpet's in fantastic shape back here. Not a thing to talk about. We'll do one other thing. Carpet under the right rear seat. Here we go. Have our other set of headsets for the DVD. Much like the other two door panels, this one looks identical. No peeling, no cracking going on up here. Pulls look new. All of our trim right here looks new. Seat does slide forward, does come back. Let's go ahead and fold this down while I'm thinking about it. So here's our discoloring going on. It's a better shot of it. That's the worst part of the car again. How nice our seatbelts look again. Middle row has one little spot right there, but so unusual for a car. I don't care what kind of car it is. A car with some kind of repair done right here at some point. Great example of why I show the edges off. But we don't have any scuffing or anything like that. It's just unusual to see a car where all the plastic in the interior and whatnot is not all scratched up and gouged up. Such a good indication of the owner who took care of it. I mean, look how nice all this is, just like the other door panels. This is plastic. I mean, there's not even, somebody had to drive it 137,000 miles and there's not one scratch on that panel. It's crazy. This is such a nice car, condition, quality wise. And again, I can tell just being familiar that whoever drove this car was not a heavy person, respectfully. Do have a little wear showing right here on the edge of this carpet, probably from a heel or something just sitting there. Not anything to cry home about, but it is there. Coming forward with the seat, and let's go back. And it does recline. And it will come back up. Look how nice the lumbar is. I mean, you can just tell this car was not driven by a heavy person. Look how nice the sticker is on the side of the console for the 4-wheel drive. No scratching on the console from the seat belt. Such a nice car. On the wood up here, we do have one crack that is going right above, as you see, the memory seats switches. You can see where it's starting to lift, and that's what it does. Just like the dash would, it's just starting to do that. Now, I don't know how fast that would progress over time, but me personally would not be too concerned with that. Everything looks great under here. A little bit of discoloration down there on the carpet, to be expected on tan interior car of this age, especially on the driver's side. Let's see if I can get this stupid hook back in there. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to show off the active height control before we get going on the inside. So as you see, we are in the neutral position for the active height control. I am going to go up to high. Once it gets into the high position, it will say high solidly, not flashing. There we are. We're going to be sitting up like a mountain. And there you go. That is what the high position looks like on a 200 Series LX. So let's bump it down to the low setting. Same thing, we are still in high, bumping it down to low. There we go, we are in the low setting. Whoa. What a difference from high. Sitting on the ground pretty much. All right. A good indicator of active height control issues is really delayed setting changes. So going from high to low, vice versa. When it's fast, like I just showed you, all is well with the system. It will slow down dramatically if there is a problem. I can tell you in 20 years, I mean, I've seen a handful. And when I say handful, less than what I can count on 2 hands. It's a pretty reliable system that you really don't see problems with. You see more problems on the 100 Series LX than you do on the 200s. And with that, you really don't see too many problems on the 100s. All right, so we are back in the neutral position. So we went high, low, back to neutral. All right, cool box with my scanner in it. Cool box is on, blowing nice cold air. You have to have your air conditioning on. That's how these cool boxes work. So everything looks nice there. Look how nice all of our wood is right here. This is a typical area that will start to peel and crack from heat. Everything looks great there. The door is a little slow to open, which is not uncommon to see. But our divider is intact, works as it should, and the door closes as it should. She's just a little slow opening. I have sprayed WD-40 before on these. It doesn't really do much for them. So our switch here for all of our 4-low and our comfort settings on suspension and active height control, everything looks fantastic. We don't have any peeling or anything going on here, which you will see from people throwing stuff right here. As we all know, there's not a lot of storage in these 200s up here, so things tend to get gouged up, marred up, whatever you want to say. Our accessory door does open and close as it should. Now, as you see here, looking at the switch for the cooled and heated seats, this is another spot right in this area that will, over time, start to come apart from heat. I'm just noticing that this is not lighting up for some reason, so I'm gonna have to investigate that. I imagine that maybe just the switch itself is unplugged. But that will be fixed for the new buyer, and I'll be glad to send pictures of that once I get it handled. Everything is intact, obviously. Cigarette lighter's never been used. The neutral, or the odor in this car is very neutral. But again, so same thing, just like the dash wood. The wood that's on here is very thin, and it has a very thin clear coat over it. As you can see, it looks matte. And that's because all the wood has come off, which is not uncommon to see. This is probably the most susceptible area where you're going to see cracking, lifting, things like that. So there is no clear coat on that. So it's going to have that matte look unless you replace this whole piece, which to me was not a big deal. And if you stand back and look, I mean, to me it's not that big of a deal, but I'm not buying the car, so you might say differently. Outside of that though, everything else looks awesome right in this area. Radio's in great shape. Let's check our backup camera. Looks nice and clear. What do you call it? It's not the LCD, the digitizer. The digitizers on these .1s, the 08 to 11s, they can start to fade and they will be very yellow. The best way to tell is on this screen with the map, where when the background is white, you will notice, if you look in pictures, you'll see certain cars that have a very yellow looking display, and that means the digitizer, the part that you push, is actually failing, and that can be problematic to replace. So everything looks great here as it should. Let's check our front facing camera. Everything looks nice, it's not cracked. We can see the right side mirror works as it should, so nothing to worry about there. Let's show off a few things here. Hit 4-zone. Let's come back. Everything works as it should there. Typical audio thing, the audio does work, but I'm not going to turn it up more than that because I don't want to get copyrighted. We can toggle through all of our preset, or our sources, I should say. Satellite radio does work in this car, or it is active, I should say. It works in all the cars, but it is active. On the 2011s, or the 2010 was the first year, but of the ability to not only Bluetooth for phone, but the Bluetooth audio on the 200 series LXs. The 08s and 09s, you were not able to do that. You only had Bluetooth for calling. So again, everything's good to go there. Map, destination, info. So I will show off the rear DVD that is still down. We're just going to hit this rear button, and it's going to fold the screen up as it should. So that works as it should. Setup. So everything looks nice here. Works as it should. Hazards work. Front defrost is good. Rear defrost is good. Everything looks nice here. No gouging or anything going on. Our front and rear park assist we can turn on and off. As you see, it is on right now. You see the little green indicator over here. So we know our park assist is working as it should. And as you see, I am in drive. So if there was a problem, you would get a little indicator of the car and it would show you where the problematic sensor was. Steering wheel's in fantastic shape. This is a luxury package car, so you're going to get a heated steering wheel with this car. No scratching, no discoloration, no nothing going on with our plastic buttons up there. Everything looks great. Steering wheel does go up, does come back down, does come out to me, and does go back in. All is well. Horn works. Blinkers, or I'm sorry, wipers. Blinker right, blinker left, high brights. Obviously traction control. AFS is the headlights that move, swivel when you turn. And that's our automatic closer for the lift gate. As we see, our mirrors are out, so we're gonna fold them in. And we're gonna come back out. All right, so we got two working power fold mirrors. Mirror goes out, comes back in, goes down, and comes back up. Right side, mirror goes out, comes back in, goes down, comes back up. Let's shut this sunroof. As you see, it's tilted up, so we're going to tilt it down, and then I'm going to one touch it open. Same thing to close it. All right, one other thing I wanted to point out right here, you can see on the tent, you can see all these little white spots coming around here. That's from people taking the seatbelt off, which, by the way, I forgot to show this seatbelt off, which looks like the rest of them in fantastic shape. People will take the seatbelt off and they'll fling it like this, and when they do, the buckle will come over here and tap the glass, and that's what you see there. So you got that going on. Not a big deal, but anyway, it's there. Let me see here. We can turn up volume. If I was on the radio, we would hear something. All right, that's enough for me. So let's engage for low. So we are in neutral, as you see. My foot is on the brake. We are simply just going to push that bad boy down, and we're going to look up and we're going to see the 4 low, and we are going to see traction control off, which is normal when you get into 4 low. Now, we do not have multi-terrain select on the .1s, but you do have crawl control. So you can control your crawl control. As you see, crawl not available, select 4 low and shift to drive. It's because I'm in neutral is why it won't turn on. But you do have crawl control here on this car. You select your speeds through that. But nonetheless, we do go into 4 low. We do need to make sure that all these cars go into 4 low because it's an electronic actuator and they will stick. So Toyota recommends once every oil change, whatever. I would engage 4 low twice a month in my car. That's what I do in my car. So we're going to go back out now. We're just going to push, go back to high, and we are back in 4 high. So it's time for a drive. Let me put my seatbelt on. And we're off. And we're at 46 minutes right now on this video, which is probably 10 minutes too long. So we're going to be listening for our normal, any kind of abnormal noises, drivetrain noise, wheel bearing noise, things like that. We're going to check the brakes. Obviously, I've already done this on this car, but I'm doing this for you folks out there in YouTube land. This car drives great. I probably put a couple 100 miles on the car after I bought it, as I do most of my Land Cruisers. Nice and quiet. No wheel bearing noise, no odd drivetrain noise. Steering wheel is nice and straight. It's not shaking or doing anything crazy. It's me turning it, obviously. No wheel bearing noise. We're gonna get on the brakes here, watch the steering wheel. Straight as an arrow. The brakes feel great on this car. Hands are not on the steering wheel. And we're going to come on the brakes. Again, brakes feel great. No rotor shake, no odd vibrations, nothing like that going on. This car sounds like a normal 200 series LX. Back. So the door is closed, so I'm going to get out and show a couple things off here real quick. All right, so on the door lock actuator front, as we all know, as I talk about in all my videos, door lock actuators on cars that have keyless entry, the only way to tell that they are working is to lock the car and get a beep feedback. If you do not get the beep feedback and you just get a blink, that means you've got an actuator out, door lock actuator out somewhere. So we're gonna lock it. And we did get our feedback, as you can hear. So to activate the factory remote start, we are simply gonna take our key fob here. We are gonna hit the lock button 3 times, and on the 3rd time, we're gonna push and hold it until we get feedback from the headlight. There we go. And now the lights will blink for a short period of time, letting you know that the vehicle is on. And in one of the more dumb decisions Toyota made, when you go to unlock the car, it shuts off, which is stupid. So, but anyway. So that's it, guys. What a nice car. What a great condition car. I feel like, you know, someone that's looking for under 150,000 mile car, this is a one owner car from Texas, rust free, great history. To be under 30 grand and well under 30 grand on a 200 series LX, I feel like there's a lot of value there. So somebody's going to get a lot of value with this car, and a really nice, clean car. So whether you want to drive it the way it is or build it is up to you, but you've got a great car to start with either way. So as always, feel free to reach out, guys. Chris@HilsonLuxury.com. You can reach me at 678-454-6060 if you have any questions. And I'm really liking all the feedback and communication I'm having with all you guys. It really does help me make these videos better, even though they're not getting any shorter. But look forward to working with one of you soon on this, and I should have it online in the next day and a half.